My name is Megan McCurry, and tonight I'm going to talk to you a little bit about high school. Now, looking back on our experience as high school, we all recognize that we're going to have different experiences and different memories, but we typically share one thing in common, and that's that up until recently, for the most part, everyone went to school in person at a local high school. Now, tonight we're going to talk about how future children can be more successful and produce better results if they complete their high school education online. One of the first things I'm going to talk about is the benefits to going to school for high school online. So we're going to start off with the idea that it's a safer environment. For students that have already experienced bullying, they're not going to have the grounds for that to occur again. And for students that have yet to experience bullying, there's no chance that they're going to have that due to their education. There's also the idea that these students are not going to be around others that can peer pressure them into making decisions that are often risky and have negative impacts, such as drinking or driving or consuming illegal substances. Another benefit of completing high school online is that it's more convenient for the students and their lifestyle. These students can complete their coursework wherever they want, so if they're on vacation, they have no problem completing it, or if they're at home, they can do it as well, and they can do it whenever they want. So if they have to work from 7 till 5 that day, they can come home and work on it, and then the next morning they can work on it as well, instead of having to be in school from roughly 7 o'clock to 2 o'clock Monday to Friday. It provides more flexibility with their life, and it gives them increased chances to be successful because they can make it work for everything they have going on. It also allows students that live in remote areas far from schools to be able to achieve an education because it could be unrealistic for these individuals to either get the transportation to and from school or to take the time to get themselves from to and from school. Another advantage to online schooling is that it allows students to create an education that best fits them and tailor it so that they can be most successful. For example, students that don't always learn as fast as others or catch on to topics as quickly can have an education that might take them a little bit longer with a slower pace, but they're going to get the same content that others would and get the same knowledge. It might just take them a little bit longer. Now, this isn't something that can happen in a conventional high school. Also, individuals that typically grasp topics very fast and are more advanced, they can select more advanced curriculum as well as increase their pace so that for topics that they understand, they can speed through them, but then those that they don't understand as quickly, they can take the extra time to cover the content and get the knowledge that they need to get rather than be rushed through it when they don't really understand what's happening or understand the principles behind what's going on. With that said, the students can also pick the curriculum that they're enrolling in as like traditional high schools, but they have more variety. Online schools offer more AP classes, they offer a wide variety of general classes, as well as some schools offer special education classes. So as you can see, online schools are more equipped to tailor their education to the student so that those that are behind get the help and those that are ahead really have the ability to achieve more and succeed more than be limited by their high school, which on top of having less course selections and options, it also has restrictions because the courses are only offered during certain periods, and so these students have to make their courses fit in the block schedule that the district utilizes, and that often leaves them picking classes they don't want and missing out on opportunities to take multiple advanced placement or accelerated courses. So, as with any issue, there's always going to be people that feel differently. So just like every other issue, there's going to be people, like in this case, that argue that online school is not the best option for children and that they need to be placed in traditional high schools if we want them to succeed. So some of their points in this are that if you're in online school, you're not going to socialize with other children your age, and they're not going to get the interactions that they normally would in high school. So when you're in school online, you're completing the work by yourself. You don't have classmates with you. You're not doing group projects. And you're not experiencing the general interactions you would when you're at school, such as in the halls, at lunch, or even just in the classroom with discussions. Online schools, according to these individuals, also don't offer extracurricular activities such as after school clubs and sports, or events such as prom, dances, graduation, and things of the sort that also promote interactions between peers and even interactions between teachers as well. So individuals against online education, again, believe that it's going to hinder these children socially and cause them to be antisocial or just be decreased in their socialization skills in general, and thus have negative impacts later in life. Another argument they make is that they don't get face-to-face contact with their instructors. They say that in subjects such as math and writing, this can be detrimental to their success because it's not always as easy to explain these subjects through an email, through a text message, as it is face-to-face contact with examples and writing things out and going through things as you would solve them like a math problem. Also, they argue that the students don't have predictable and immediate interactions with their instructors, whereas in traditional high school, you can raise your hand or go up to the teacher, ask a question, and you're going to get an answer back then. Whereas if you have to send an email or a text message or make a phone call that goes to voicemail, you're not going to get that immediate response. You're going to have to leave your question and then hope they understand what you're asking, and then they're going to respond to you, and you have to hope that their response is sufficient to what you were needing, or you're going to have to go back and forth again so that you get the response you need, which takes more time and takes more stress, and it's just not as good of an interaction and question answer as it would be if you were in class, and this is a point that those against it would argue. Their final point is that individuals in online school are going to have added difficulties because of the increased costs that associate with online school. People against online schooling argue that you have to pay the tuition, the books, the supplies, and you're going to have to go out and get a computer or a laptop, and you have to pay for internet so that you can complete everything. So this is going to cause added stress on the student and their families in general, and thus lead to a not as successful student, which means they should probably be in traditional school anyways. But as with any two-sided argument, there's always points to prove your other side wrong. So I'm going to talk about how, although these individuals think their points are valid, they're actually incorrect. Now, to start off with, students that are in online schools do still get socialization opportunities. Online schools, some of them, do still have extracurricular activities. Some of them will have sports teams even. They'll do proms, they'll do dances, they'll do field trips, and they'll do graduation ceremonies as well, which will harbor the socialization skills and the interactions. It just takes a little bit more effort to get these. Also, students don't just interact with people when they're at school. We interact with people when we go to the store, when our family comes home, when we go to work. We interact with people all day and build these social skills, and it's not solely at school that we achieve these skills. To disprove their other argument that in-person interactions with teachers are going to greatly disadvantage them, these teachers are still highly qualified, highly skilled instructors that can communicate through webcam, email, phone call, text message, forums, anything like that to get responses back to the students. It's not like we're waiting days to send letters. Responses are typically, in my experience, 24 hours at most, maybe 48 on the weekends. They're pretty sufficient and quick with their responses. Another argument that I'm going to disprove of theirs is that going to online school is going to cost so much money. In fact, there's a lot of online schools for high school that are free of charge because they're set up similar to public schools, so the students don't have to pay tuition, they don't have to pay books, and they don't have to pay some of the added expenses and materials. Also, students in online school don't have to worry about transportation to and from school, which often causes added expenses. Overall, as you can see, online school proves to produce more successful and more advanced students than traditional schools do, as it allows them to create a program that best fits them and sets them up for success. Enroll your students in high school online if you want them to achieve the most they can and be more successful than they ever dreamed. Thank you and have a wonderful night.